Hi, I'm RJ and I'm a safety suit for CMS. Today, I'm going to be talking about something I think is very important, fatigue in the workplace. One thing's for sure is we keep busy schedules, and if something suffered, it's probably getting a good night's sleep. We'll do everything else first and then try to sneak a little shut-eye in. Back in the 1900s, in the early part of the 1900s, before the electric light bulb was widely used, most people got about 9 hours sleep a night. And that's great because most studies, they say American adults need somewhere about 8 hours a night. So back in the old days, people got plenty of sleep. But now, according to a study that was done by the National Sleep Foundation, the average American gets about 6 hours and 40 minutes of sleep on a work night. So, are you one of those people that's not getting enough sleep? Tell you what, I got a quiz for you. I'm gonna go through a list of questions. I want you to mark down all the yeses because at the end, we're gonna try to figure out if you're gonna get enough sleep or not. Question number one, do you fall asleep immediately when you lay down to go to sleep? Do you feel drowsy after eating a heavy meal? Do you tend to sleep in a little later on the weekends? Have you ever fallen asleep watching TV or reading? Have you ever dozed off while driving? Do you ever have memory lapses during the day? Do you need an alarm clock to wake you up in the morning? Have you ever been told that you snore loudly? Last but not least, do you feel you lack energy in the middle of the day? So how'd you do? Did you mark all your yeses down? If you got 3 or more yeses, probably not getting enough sleep. If you had a yes to 5 or more, you probably have a pretty serious concern there. It might be something you really need to think about, maybe even talk to your doctor about. So now you know that maybe you're one of those folks that aren't getting enough sleep. What are the consequences of that? According to studies, if you're suffering from sleep deprivation, you can have a 20 to 50% reduction in your judgment, your reaction time, your memory at times, your ability to pay attention, even your ability to communicate well. So what's this impairment look like that we're talking about? Something that's pretty easy for us all to understand is like someone under the influence of alcohol. There was a study done in Australia not too awful long ago that compared how did people perform when they were deprived of sleep and how they performed when they were consuming alcohol. And what they found was a really interesting correlation. When people got to like 17 to 19 hours without sleep, they performed in a series of tests much like someone who had a blood alcohol of 0.05. And for most states, that's below the legal limit. But as they got a little more past that point, they started performing these tests as if they had a 0.1, which for most states, that's above the legal limit. So if they were to do their work or they're gonna drive a car, they're functionally impaired as much as they were had they been drinking all day. So if you feel like you're one of those guys that's nodding off, don't feel bad about that. Got some statistics for you that might make you feel, well, they're not gonna make you feel better, but they'll at least help you to recognize that you're part of the crowd. So 37% of Americans reported they've fallen asleep while driving, which is frightening. 41% of law enforcement officers said they've fallen asleep on the night shift. And then probably the most scary statistic of all, according to NASA, 80% of pilots said they've fallen asleep in the cockpit while flying. And when you're talking about workplace safety, a reduction in your ability to react or to use good judgment or even to communicate well can translate into some pretty serious safety issues at any given time of the workday. Let me give you an example. According to NIOSH and some studies they've done, if you're sleep deprived, and remember that's getting less than 8 hours sleep a night, you're almost doubling your risk of having a workplace injury. Kind of adding to that, the National Highway Safety Transportation Administration says that every year, drowsy drivers, about 100,000 drivers have accidents every year, and that results in about 1,500 deaths. So it's a really big problem in the workplace. So, hopefully I have your attention, and we realize that just skipping a few hours sleep is more than just, okay, I'm gonna be tired the next day. You're actually running a risk for being injured or maybe injuring someone else. Sleep is one of those basic things. It's something we take so for granted and we make everything else important. But you need a good night's rest. All the damage, and it really is damage that we do to our bodies during the day, be it exercise or work or just being awake and having to function as we normally do, that adds stress and damage to your body. You gotta have sleep to restore that. It actually repairs your body at the cellular level. From a health standpoint, chronic sleep loss can manifest in some pretty serious health issues such as heart disease, heart attack, high blood pressure, greater risk of stroke. We run a risk of having diabetes, and it's been associated with things such as weight loss and depression. Sleep is regulated by 2 processes in the brain. The first one, that's associated with how long you've been awake. The longer you're awake, the greater your desire is to sleep. So that's kind of piece one that gets you ready for sleep. The other one is the circadian rhythm. And that's kind of your body's natural reaction to the light and the dark of a day. For most of us, that's not a big deal. But if you work night shift or a rotating shift, your body's response to light is really gonna make it hard for you to sleep in the natural flow of things. So when you talk about tips to help you sleep better, you gotta be mindful of that. One part of sleep goes back to how long you've been awake. The other part of sleep goes is, do I have an environment that's really supportive of it? For example, is it darkened? If it's not, you're probably not going to get that restorative sleep that we've been talking about. Hopefully I've convinced you that probably you do need to think about your schedule and probably add a little more sleep. As I said before, most of us get less than 7 hours and probably need 8. And then the cumulative effect after a 5 to 7 day work week is pretty significant. So, I've got some tips for you that I think will help you get a better night's sleep along with your desire to get more sleep. Okay, this one's easy. Maintain a regular bedtime and try to wake up at the same time. If you're like most of us, you want to binge on the weekends and get a little extra sleep, that's probably not a good practice and it'll impact your sleep later in the week. It's best to establish a regular, kind of relaxing bedtime routine. So for example, if you want to grab a shower, read, or listen to music, do that on a regular basis and that'll help you probably sleep better. As I mentioned earlier, you've got to have an environment that helps you to sleep well. And a sleep-conducive environment typically is going to be dark, quiet, needs to be very comfortable, and in most cases, probably needs to be a little on the cool side. Try to finish eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. The whole digestive process and the impact on sleep is a well-known connection, and that's really tough for the folks that work shift, but try your best a couple of hours ahead of time. And this one's probably a no-brainer, but it's really important to avoid caffeine close to bedtime. Things such as coffee, tea, soft drinks, chocolate. While you think that probably doesn't bother you, I hear people say that all the time, it's probably going to be your best interest to your good night's sleep if you avoid it. Another one is nicotine. It's a stimulant. Tobacco products, cigarettes, those things close to bedtime can certainly help keep your body a little more energized and make it harder for you to sleep. Avoid alcohol close to bedtime. It's also a sedative and it actually disrupts your sleep. It causes you to awake during the nighttime, not sleep deeper. And then lastly, exercise regularly. And that one's a tough one because I've already talked to you about how schedules are already full, but if you'll find a way to make regular exercise a part of your routine, I can pretty well guarantee it'll help you sleep better and be more rested. So there you have it. We've talked about, are you getting enough sleep? We've talked about the benefits of you'll get a little more sleep. And lastly, I hope that you take those tips to help you get a better night's sleep because I promise you, you're gonna feel better.
I must ask you a question. According to investigators, sleep deprivation was a factor in which of these disasters? The nuclear accident at 3 Mile Island, the Exxon Valdez oil spill, the nuclear meltdown at Chernobyl, all of the above?
That's a good question.
Answer, all of the above. Now get some sleep and be safe.
If you liked the video, hit that like button down here. Give us your comments, we'd love some feedback, and then make sure you get the most up-to-date, latest and greatest from us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.